In a moment, Lee Harry Oswald, the man Houston police say shot President John F. Kerry, will be brought down this corridor to an awaiting car and then transported to Houston County Jail, where he will probably remain until his trial. There seems to be some activity now. Yes, there's Oswald now. Now, police claim that they have an airtight case against him. Oswald's motive appears to have been jealousy. Evidently, the handsome young president had been having an affair with Oswald's wife, the beautiful Bolshoi ballerina, Marina Harry Oswald. Of course, the police have the gun. Oswald denies any knowledge of this, and he will be under heavy federal and state guard. Wait, a man has just jumped out of the crowd. An overweight man has... Live from New York, it's Saturday night.
Hello and welcome to the Not Ready for Primetime podcast. We're Gary Seath and Brad Robinson.
Here now, the podcast.
This week, we're talking about Season 3, Episode 2, with host Madeline Kahn and musical guest Taj Mahal. This show originally aired on October 8th, 1977. Brad?
Gary?
Baseball season gets in the way of SNL this week.
Rain delay, apparently. Yes, that's true.
Back when NBC had baseball.
Your beloved Phillies and the Dodgers, apparently, in a late game.
Yeah. That was back in the late 70s when the Phillies and Dodgers were playing all the time. But we get Madeline Kahn back for her second time hosting.
Yes, Madeline Kahn is back.
That's exciting.
It was.
Well, I mean, I think you and I agreed that the Madeline Kahn episode in season 1 was our favorite episode of the season.
Yes, right. It was our favorite one.
Yeah. And so
expectations are high. Yes. Yeah. Coupled with season 3, it's like a double whammy of high expectations right now.
Right.
And as I enter this episode, I'm like, wow, she won't be back for 18 years to host again. Like, that's longer than the Candice Bergen stretch we talked about last season. And I was like, God damn, I can't understand how that is. And then I watched this episode, and then I kind of have an idea as to why that might be.
Okay, so why might that be?
I don't know. This whole episode just felt off to me. No,
I agree.
Like, and maybe it was the rain delay you speak of, because she mentions it in the monologue that we'll get to, that, you know, it's like a 20-minute delay. And so I don't know if everyone was just like at 11:30, they were ready and they kept waiting and waiting and waiting. It just threw everybody off, because I'm sure we'll talk about Dan and Weekend Update.
Yeah.
But just something just doesn't feel right about this episode, which is so bizarre based on how well the last one with her was.
It's kind of shocking. When I finished watching it, I was like, wait, why wasn't this better? And I think maybe the rain delay played into that, but it felt like it was also kind of all over the place. And it felt to me, my immediate reaction was, this feels like one of those shows where they wanted the host to carry them and they didn't give her the best material.
Yeah. Also, remember the last time she hosted, they canceled her episode because of the strike. So she actually had 2 weeks on the last time she hosted to really prepare. Because remember, they had the great musical number and all that. So we thought, maybe that led to part of her episode being so well done, is that they had so much time. I don't know. Regardless, she's coming into this with the remembrance of being a great host from her previous experience. We've got this season 3 high that I haven't I don't think anybody's come down from yet. So it's like, everything is just like, this should be great.
Right.
And it's just, there's a lot of hit and misses. It's a very weird episode.
It is. No, I think it's going to be an interesting episode to talk about. And not only because we have such high expectations for Madeline Kahn, but also because of the show itself. And the sketches are a little all over the place, like you said.
Yeah. And this is an instance too of like, I feel like the host isn't there half the time. I don't know. Maybe as we talk about it, I'll feel differently. But there was one point by the end of the show, I was like, what did she do this episode?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well,
I think we just,
Should we just get into it then?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, let's dive right in.
Let's actually dissect this while we're talking about it. Okay, so the show opens with Chiron warning us that parental guidance is suggested as the following ABC miniseries is based on historical fact. However, some names and events have been changed to make the program more entertaining. Then Dan comes on We see a chyron for the trial of Lee Harry Oswald.
Well, and I think a lot of this, so apparently a couple months prior, there actually was a TV movie on ABC called The Trial of Lee Harvey Oswald, which was like, what if he hadn't been shot and actually survived trial? So I think they're playing off of that with all this like fictional names and all this bullshit. So it lends itself to why they're doing this a bit.
I kind of want to dive more into that made for TV movie about the Lee Harvey Oswald thing. But yes, this is, a reenactment, the events and names. So it's Lee Harry Oswald, not Lee Harvey Oswald. And the reporters are all waiting for Oswald as we see Bill as Oswald comes down the hall. Then there's a kind of a ruckus. And the quote from Dan is,
it's a good word,
an overweight ruckus. Gentleman.
No. A man has jumped out of the crowd. An overweight man.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a great line.
And John jumps out of the crowd and then pies Bill in the face. And Bill gives us the live from New York.
John is Jack Ruby.
Yes.
With the pie hitting Oswald in the face. Yes.
I don't know. It was funny. It was a fun take. It was short.
I like this. I thought it was good because I thought they did a really great job of recreating that, the whatever you want to call it, like the Lee Harvey Oswald, it's not a perp walk, but like that walk when he gets killed, like everybody's seen it in the news footage. I thought they did a great job. I've always been fascinated by the guy on Lee Harvey Oswald's right with the big Texas hat on, the big whatever, because like there's a reaction when Oswald gets shot and there's a still photo and that guy's reaction is just like amazing. He's like, oh. And they capture that guy, and like I thought they did a great job of recreating this entire scenario. Yeah.
Can we take a still frame of your face just now so we can post that on our social pages?
But no, it was great. I had the same note about Dan's line about the man jumping out of the crowd, an overweight man.
Yeah.
And I think Bill's delivery is great with the live from New York. John's got a really great facial reaction. He turns to the camera and gives the old eyebrow thing. Like, I liked all of this. It was fun. It was enjoyable. It's, what I think we're starting to realize is classic season 3 of like production value and more people in sets and, scenery and costumes and stuff. So I thought this was great. I really enjoyed it. It was a fun way to start.
Yeah, it was. And it was all in black and white.
Yeah.
Which was fun.
Yeah.
From there, we get new opening credits. So we get
I love these opening credits so much better.
Yeah.
Like last week's opening credits with those really weird like faces superimposed on the jump. Like that just was like creepy beyond belief. So this is so much better. And I love the dusk and seeing them like actually be there in front of their names. Like it's so much better. It's so much I feel like this is, and they'll evolve into this where they stop, I think, doing them like new every week and you get like the standard ones like with Gilda and Apple and all that stuff. But this is what I think people really connect with when like the original cast and the original credits is this sequence of them, Times Square, Jumbotron stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So much better. Yeah. Oh God, last week's was so horrific. This is so much better.
Yeah.
So much
this
better.
was great. It was good to see them interacting and I don't know. It was great. From there, we get Madeline Kahn coming down for her monologue, and she references, like you mentioned, she references the baseball game and the delay. And then she tells us that she doesn't know what's going to happen tonight or in life except death. So let's have a rip swirling good time?
No. It's a rip snorting good time.
Snorting. That's what it was.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't read my own handwriting.
Lean into that Coke, my friend.
Yeah. But again, I love Madeline Kahn. And
how can you not?
Right? Coming off of that opening sketch and this monologue, even though it's kind of weird, I was still like,
it's
whatever.
Fun.
It's Madeline
It's got
Kahn.
great energy. Like, it's fun. She's having a blast. Like, who she doesn't seem scared, really. Like, she's into it. Even though, like, there's been stories, like, she didn't necessarily enjoy being on the show in the live TV. But, like, you can't tell. Like, she seems to be having a blast on this. Yeah.
She's so good. From here, we go to a commercial for Swill.
A classic.
Yeah, this is great. I was so excited when I saw this. This is the mineral water that comes straight from Lake Erie. So Bill is the pitch man at a restaurant telling us how Swill helps wash down a heavy meal like the burger he has. We see images of guys at a lake taking Swill out of the lake. And then they pour it, and it's just like this thick, viscous liquid that's full of pebbles and trash and crap, but it's all kind of bottled like Perrier, or the markings like Perrier. It's great. This is a classic commercial, I think, that I've always enjoyed.
Oh, it's a great parody. It's one of the best. I think this is Weibel. I'm fairly certain this is Alan Weibel. Yeah, how they dredge from Lake Erie. You mentioned the slow pour at the end, which is I believe is a spoof on like the Heinz ketchup commercials at the time, which used to do these like really slow pours with the same song. You're like, slow pour, but this does the slow pour and it's clear, and like one of the old beer cap pull-offs come out in it and pulls into it.
But did you notice too, when he pours the ketchup on his burger, that's not like the Heinz, that's just like water,
like,
gross.
Just splats out. Yeah, and it's very indicative of season 3. Like, this production value is great. Like, they're in a packed restaurant. It's polished. It's clean. It's not like in front of a green screen or anything. Bill Murray's great. And I feel like, and we're going to say this a lot this episode, this is a big Bill episode. There's a lot of Bill Murray in this episode. And good Bill Murray. Like, this is not season 2 Bill Murray. Like, Bill Murray is like found his footing and he's like, yeah, I'll carry this show for you guys. Don't worry.
Yeah, and it needed that from him this week. And he delivered.
But yeah,
this was great.
All-time classic. All-time classic.
Yes. So we're riding that high. We're see
riding
bad
it,
opera comes.
And then you go into bad opera. Like, you're pulling a Tom Schiller bad sketch. Normally you're 10 to 1. Never been this early on SNL ever. Now you're pulling us up to your first main sketch as you're doing a bad sketch. Like, this is, again, I'm riding high so far.
I'm with you. And this is bad opera. And tonight's bad opera is The Golden Note, which is a German opera where the singer who performs the role of Mazda gets larynx lock, where they get stuck on a note and they can never get off of it. So then we have the opera being performed by Madeline as the lead, which totally makes sense. We get Lorraine and Gilda and John, Garrett, and Bill as part of the cast of the opera. And at first, it's just Madeline and Garrett singing, and it's wonderful.
Actually, before that, did this feel like a really long intro by Dan?
Yeah.
Like, it felt really long when they were on Dan.
I didn't think of that at the time, but now that you say that, I agree. It just, to me, I was just so happy that we were getting a bad sketch.
I know. And he sets it up so well with, it's as difficult to sing as it is to listen to.
It's good. And I really enjoyed Garrett and Madeline singing. And then Madeline gets to that note that which causes larynx lock, and she can't get out of it. That was fun.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, this is another another season 3. Like, there's a lot of production value here. Like, Bill's coming down on wires. Yes. There's a fake fire. I mean, this whole huge set piece that you're never going to see again. Like, they're not reusing this later on in the episode. Like, yeah, there's a lot going on. And it's, like you said, it's a brilliant sketch for her. Like, getting her to sing, you're like, great, this makes total sense. It's funny. I love the Tom Schiller pieces. The bad pieces are always good. This one's right up there. I don't know. And I noticed this in the opening sketch, but John is not looking good. Like, John is very sweaty. And I noticed it in the opening sketch. And then in this one, it's like, he's just like not looking good tonight.
No, I agree with you. I noticed it in the opening sketch. Yeah, it was a little harder to tell in this sketch because it wasn't a close-up like in the open. But yeah, he's not looking great.
But I did enjoy the sketch. I did. It was fun. And it was fun to see one of the bad sketches so early.
Yeah, we love the bad sketches. Then we get Lorne back talking to camera. And this time he's announcing the Anyone Can Host contest.
And even this set's bigger nowadays. Season 1, season 2, Lorne sits at a desk with like 1, maybe 2 photos on the desk. Now he's got goddamn ferns behind him and a photo wall. Like, huge come on, guys. Like, I know. Budget is big this season, guys. Budget is big.
It is big. Lorne, still not great reading off the cue cards.
Well, I mean, everyone's having problems tonight. It's an off night. We've said this. It's the rain delay. The rain delay is messing with everybody.
Maybe. But he's not great at reading off of cue cards.
Maybe.
That's fine. So yeah, he announces the Anyone Can Host contest. There's nothing else to say about this.
That's really all it is. I mean, it's where we literally got our text line for line from our promo. Right. We basically stole it from this. But it's kind of nice because they set up probably one of the best runners of the early years because it's a multi-episode. I mean, this bit will carry multi-episodes of they announce the contest, they bring them in for an episode, introduce them, then they finally host it. This will carry them through 6 or 7 episodes worth of material.
Yeah. From there, we get a television show titled Bianca Jagger and 3 or 4 of her close personal friends. So Bill sets this up and tells us about this program where Bianca Jagger has dinner with 3 or 4 of her closest friends. This time it is with Truman Capote, played by Sweaty John, as you just referenced.
Yeah, another Sweaty John.
This was where it kind of caught my attention.
Yeah, it's another Sweaty John.
Princess Grace, played by Jane. Margaret Trudeau, played by Lorraine. And Bianca is played by Madeline. So they're sitting at a table eating grapes and cheese and just talking about how Bianca has a job, so she understands that she can't just show up to places 4 hours late. John's Truman Capote is pretty funny, telling her how gorgeous she is.
I did like John's Truman Capote. I did like it.
Yeah, and then it's just, they're all kind of kissing her ass, right? Trudeau is asking where Mick is. Princess Grace chimes in. That was what this was. I mean, this was strange.
Yeah, I think this is an instance of being very timely. They make all the references like you mentioned about, oh, where's Mick? Is Mick here? And at the time, Bianca and Mick Jagger were estranged. So I don't know if that's where they're trying to get the jokes from. Like these people didn't realize it or weren't with it enough. And so that's where they were trying to rely on a lot of the humor. Because again, you're getting impressions of people who right now probably no one knows who you're talking about. In 1977 you did, but it's like, are you knowing
today?
Who these like today, like you're not getting who these impressions are. Maybe Truman Capote, maybe. And I legitimately don't know, like, how good is her Bianca Jagger? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Like, if it was spot on, I'd be like, Bianca? Great sketch. But I'm not going to lie. If it wasn't for all these celebrity impressions, I would have put money they would have dropped the cow. There it is. I'm pulling it out. It only took me 2 episodes. I'm pulling it out. Halfway through, I'm like, if it weren't for all these celebrity impressions, they would have dropped the goddamn cow on the table.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, it's rough. It's long. It doesn't really go anywhere. I'm not sure what the point was. Until the end, where like, it's almost even Bianca Jagger, like you said, has enough. And she's like, these are not my friends. This is not my table. Like, I would not have them at this dinner table. This is a TV show. And it's like, almost she's had enough at this point.
Yes.
And it ends.
It was just strange.
Would this sketch have been better if they dropped the cow?
That's interesting. I don't think so. I don't think this would have. There was a sketch. You
just don't want to give it to me. That's all.
No. There's a sketch later in the show that I wrote cow ?
Oh, really?
Because I thought you might bring it up later, but
no, I'm 20 minutes in. I'm fucking ringing that bell.
Well, that's fair. Well, you didn't love that, but then Madeline comes on and introduces Taj Mahal.
Hell yeah.
This I knew you'd loved.
Yes.
Or were going to love. So Taj Mahal comes on and performs Queen Bee from his 1977 album Evolution. This was great. I don't know much Taj Mahal, but
I did not know this song, but it was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Taj Mahal's amazing. I mean, he played with the Stones and the the rock and roll circus back in 68, 69. Like, the guy's a legend.
Yeah.
How do you give this guy one tune? That's a goddamn
was going
sin.
to be
That's
my
a
question.
sin. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Again,
like I did not know this song, but I loved it. Like, I have no notes because I just sat there and enjoyed this song. So good.
Again, later in the show, I was like, why aren't we getting Taj Mahal back on?
There's no need. Yeah. I mean, you got him on. Like, why? Well, give him the second song.
Right? It doesn't make any sense.
Play 6 days on the road. It would have been great. Anyway.
Yeah. He's so good.
So good. Speaking of good, let's get to it, baby. Schiller's Reel is here.
It's here and it's fun. So this
is
Schiller's Reel. This is the acid generation. Where are they now? So it's interviews with a bunch of senior citizens reminiscing about being part of the acid generation. So they had names like Saffron, Captain Acid, and Free.
The 60s, a time of change, love-ins and head trips. The 60s meant peace marches, LSD, Dylan and Woodstock, the hippies who dropped acid and dropped out. But where are they now, the survivors of the 60s? Where are their heads at? And just how much do they remember today?
The 60s were beautiful. I lived every day. I was high for about 3 years. I couldn't get my head together, so I dropped out.
Yes, I was a love child in the 60s. And it was a beautiful far-out trip.
I remember Hendrix at Monterey as if it was yesterday.
You just can't get good acid these days.
I guess they call me free because I'm so liberated.
So there
You're only 10 years, if that, not even.
Not even.
From the acid generation. I mean, Schiller told us he went to a senior citizens area in Venice, California, and literally had lines written on cardboard that he paid these people $25 a piece just to read off the cardboard. Like one of the guys you can tell is blatantly reading lines like off a piece of paper. But
That's
it's so funny. Fun. It's so good. Even Schiller's like admit like this is one of his favorite ones. Like this is right up there with Don't Look Back in Anger and La Dolce Gilda. Like it's so good. It's so funny.
Yes. It's wonderful.
It's so well put together. Like to me, this had a feeling of like freshness to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it's like the anti-Gary Weiss. He actually thought about this. Oh yeah, don't worry, it's coming.
Oh no,
he actually thought about it, prepped it, wrote it, directed it, novel thought, edited it. It's like a minute and a half. Like this is perfect because it's short and sweet to the point. It doesn't get long. It doesn't get stale. Like this is great for all of those. I love this. I thought this was fantastic.
And this is the kind of thing that you could very easily just have more of those lines and it could get old after a while.
Exactly.
But he did. He kept it
he
nice
knew
and
when
tight
to stop.
and fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one woman's like, I remember Jimi Hendrix at Monterey like it was yesterday.
And they're all talking like your grandmother. It's brilliant. It's so good.
It was so much fun. It really was.
I'm psyched. We should say we're fingers crossed. We're going to have Michael Streeter on later this season, who wrote the Tom Schiller book. We're going to have him on later this season, talk about Tom Schiller and all these shorts. But I am so excited to get Schiller's Reel into the SNL world and start getting into them because they're so good. And he kicks it off with one of his best. I mean, this is great.
Yeah, this was wonderful. What I didn't think was wonderful was how awkward this week's weekend update was.
Oh, man.
There are a couple good jokes in here, but the opening to this was so awkward. Dan was just not.
Dan's off. What is it? 4 lines in, he's like, I'm going home. Like Jane tries to save him. At one point, she's like, Dan, that's your line. And which is so, I think because it's him, it's even that weirder to watch because you're just so used to him being on and doing whatever he needs to do. And to watch him flub literally reading dialogue off a piece of paper is bizarre.
He flubs introducing himself.
Yeah,
like,
right off
Dan,
right off the intro.
Aykroyd. It was weird. Like it totally caught me off guard. I don't know. It's like him being himself and he doesn't feel comfortable with that. It's like he would rather play a character.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I mean?
Well, yeah. I exactly hear what you're saying. And I think you're exactly right because he never plays Dan.
Right.
Like Lorraine plays versions of Lorraine. Gilda plays versions of Gilda. John does the same thing. You never really see Dan playing Dan. It's interesting now that you say it. And now he's stuck playing Dan. He doesn't know what to do.
Right.
You're right. You're totally right.
I'm going to mark that one down for season 3. Gary's right.
You can just edit that part out. But like, we said it last week too. It's like, why did you have to bring him in?
Right.
Like Jane, by the end of season 2, we were loving Jane on the update desk. I don't know. I think we and everybody thought she was doing a great job. Like she didn't need Dan. I'm pretty sure Dan, as we've noticed now in 2 weeks, didn't want to do this. It's like, why do it? Let her take the ball and run with it. Plus she was like already getting fed up with the show itself. Like she loved having this weekend update niche where she could do her thing and she knew she'd be on screen and like didn't have to deal with all the other bullshit.
Right.
Why complicate it? I don't know. They got to right the ship because this is not. I mean, and they will,
and they do,
do. But like it just, they did it last week where like before they go into weekend update, it's like that big wide shot and they show all the correspondents that are like the news team.
Right.
Luckily, this week it's only one. It's only Bill. But again, like Bill Murray's there at the start, and then they get into it for like 5 minutes before he sits down. So it already felt weird. And then, yes, the intros don't go well. What did you think of the dancing end?
I was just going to bring that up.
Okay, great. Okay.
Because I loved it.
Okay. All right. Urgent bulletin.
She's just tap dancing across the stage. I thought it was very funny.
You know who she was, right?
It. No, who was it?
It's Gilda.
It was Gilda?
Yeah, it was Gilda playing the dancing end. She's so if you watch it, you'll see there's a body comes out and they're covered head to like knees in the boxed end logo of NBC, and they're tap dancing their way through, and they have a little note safety pin to like the top of the box, and Dan rips it off and reads the urgent bulletin. But it was funny to watch that tap dance, and the crowd loved it. They seemed to really like that one.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
It did mess up Dan's mic. He had to re-mic.
Yeah, just when he needed something else to mess him up.
I know. Yeah, there was a Sputnik joke. I think that talks about the anniversary of Sputnik, black and white, and
then they rehash an old Chevy joke for that. With Dan doing the Russian voices like off camera, and they cut back to the desk and it's Dan doing the Russian voices. Oh, God damn, guys, come on.
Yeah. And then Bill Murray comes on with the Weekend Update review to talk about Marie Osmond.
At least it's only one correspondent this week. I give him that.
Yeah. Marie Osmond and her apparent changes to the new Marie, who is using Cher's designer, and he tells her about his crush on her and how she's a superstar. And again, this is another one where Bill comes on and is like talking up. He did this with Rosalind Carter, remember, early in his...
It's classic Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Bill might have had my favorite one-line joke of the night, where he comes out and he's talking about how they won't let him get the like pre-screening or whatever of Marie Osmond's thing to review in advance. And he has a great line. If you think you can keep the truth to the American people, you are wrong. They're too bright for that. And then he's like, Davey, the applause sign, throw the applause sign on. Like, he blatantly talking about how you can't dumb down the audience. And then he tells Davey Wilson to throw the applause sign on. I thought it was the funniest joke of the night. I just loved it. Between his delivery and just what it was saying, I fucking loved it.
Yeah. This was a fun part of Weekend Update for me because it was Bill being Bill.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, he's like, oh, come on, you knucklehead, you crazy kids. Come on, yada, yada. Like, he's totally playing the Bill Murray role. Yeah. And
then we end the night with them recognizing that it's Chevy Chase's birthday, and they say, happy 37th.
Yeah. I feel like they threw the applause sign up again for that one. It was like, ooh, come on, guys.
I just enjoyed how they make the joke about Chevy being old. And this is kind of a runner, right? The 15th anniversary show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Being old. Yeah. So that was Weekend Update. It was weird. It was Dan
working
made
up the
so
kinks.
Awkward. Yeah,
I know they got to work the sign off wasn't there. Like it's still getting worked out, I think.
Right. Well, we get Bill again right after Weekend Update. This time delivering a sermon about a soldier who would bowl on Sunday rather than going to church, and he talks about the parallels of life and bowling, intercut with Madeline singing about the same thing. And she's in gold, like she has this gold wig on, and they're like,
well, yeah, she sings the song Silver Balls and Golden Pins, and she's basically dressed in gold with like gold makeup, as if because she's at the top of a bowling. You realize then she's at the top of a bowling trophy.
Right.
Yes.
When they pull it out.
And they give her yet another chance to sing.
Yes.
Yes.
But it's good because it's Madeline. She's a good singer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought Bill was very good in this sketch. I enjoyed him. Again, he's like, he has all this energy he's bringing to it. I was kind of surprised that it was Bill again after he was on Weekend Update, and then they came right back to him. But I liked this. I liked the reveal of her being on top of the bowling trophy.
I feel like every time they cut back, that trophy got bigger. I also didn't realize those four dudes were real the first time they cut to her.
Oh, really?
Like the second time they cut and they started dancing, I was like, oh my God, they're moving. This is another season 3 show off piece. It's like, here we go. We've got this huge elaborate set and technical stuff and all this crap. I didn't like this. I didn't like it.
I think that's
you can
fair.
like it.
No. I didn't really like it. I liked Bill's, like I liked Bill's energy for the role. Like I liked what he brought to it. Even I thought it was kind of, I didn't think it was very well written, to be honest with you, and like whatever. But I
well,
liked Bill.
this is your buddy O'Donnell. This is a Michael O'Donoghue piece with Howard Shore.
Okay,
but you know what? But I will say, the song is good.
You like
it's song? I like as a musical number. Like she's also very good. I mean, you can't deny Madeline Kahn knows how to sing. Obviously,
that's
because I feel like at some point it takes a turn from being some sort of a sketch to just being a musical number.
Yeah, it does turn to just music after a while.
Like to me, this felt like a let's see what we can get away with sketch.
Yeah.
Like, let's see if we can put this on. Like, oh, we're going to get away with this. Well, let's keep doing it. And then we're going to have people on a trophy. Like, that's what this felt like to me. She sings well. So it's like, if anything, a highlight for the musical. Like, is this why Taj Mahal didn't get another song?
Ugh, I hope not.
Like, listen, I often will say, like, there are some sketches that are just stupid and silly, but they work.
Right. This wasn't one of them.
That's all I got to say. I don't have anything more.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, next we get Bill again leading off a sketch. So this is the School of Law.
All Bill, baby.
With Bill and Jane and Dan on a panel hearing the arguments of two prospective students, Garrett, who is blind, and John. And John is suing the school.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You left off a key description of Garrett in this sketch.
Oh, Garrett is blind. Is that what you were looking for?
He's also black, Gary. He's a black man. Garrett Morris is playing a black man. Kind of clutch to the sketch here.
I would assume, and I could be wrong. I apologize. I assume that anyone listening to this knows that Garrett is a black man.
Spell it out, baby.
And he doesn't have to, what did you say? Play a black man?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So,
continue.
John, who's playing a white man,
is he though?
Is suing the school. And we should say this is like a law school. They're trying to get into law school. And John is suing because he did not get in. Garrett did. And he had better grades and better LSAT scores. And the panel decides that they don't want to go to court with this and they don't have the money, blah, blah, blah. So they then tell Garrett that John is black and trick him out of his admittance. And Garrett is, once he finds out that John is black, he's okay with that. And he's okay with it and comes to terms with it. And then the panel all leaves and it's just John and Garrett talking. And Garrett's two friends come in to drive him home. And there are these two very large black men who come in and they're
Howard
like,
Johnson, baby.
Yes. And they start talking to Garrett, about why he couldn't get in. And Garrett's like, well, it's okay. Cause he's black, so it's cool. And
he says the brother got it, right? He's like, the brother here got it.
Yeah, the brother, that's right. Yeah, and then John kind of weasels his way out of the room very quickly.
That was an amazing job you just did of trying to summarize that sketch. I'm not going to lie.
Thank you.
a lot going on. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of there was a real trial going through the Supreme Court at this time. I think it was like UCal or UCLA or some California law school. The same, I think, this reverse discrimination type thing. This is another one. It was long. I actually did like the idea with playing on Garrett being blind, that both the candidates were black. I'm like, okay, they could have fun with this. This could actually be funny and smart. Then they turned on him like so quick. Like you were saying how like they robbed Garrett out of the admittance. Like they're all laughing behind his back. Like Bill sits on the desk. He's like, I'm holding up a finger, 1 or 2. Tell me what it is, odd or even. And Garrett guesses wrong. And like, they're all like laughing behind his back. It's like they were so like trying to ride the right line. And then they just turned on the Garrett character so quick. And then I liked at the end where they did try to call John out and everybody out on it for duping Garrett. And I like when he called his, oh, my guys are out in the hallway. They're going to give me a ride home. And you see Howard Johnson. It's one of the other dudes from the band come in and it's really great. I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. And then like John's confrontation with them just felt so weak.
Yeah.
Like they didn't want to deal with it. And they like literally just ran out at the end of the sketch. Like John runs out on them. He like tap dances, makes some comment like, right on, brother. Like, oh, Temptations. And he runs out the door. And I feel like they just missed a chance to really do something fun and smart and witty with the scenario. And they just kind of like glossed it over and let John run out of the sketch and end it.
It was very fast. Once John,
that ending was super fast.
Really quick. Yeah. I thought Garrett was good in this sketch too.
Garrett was good.
Yeah.
He was good. Yeah.
Well, Brad, were you excited to get another Gary Weiss film?
Gary, I'm pissed on two things.
All right, let's do one at a time.
I realized Gary Weiss is still here. And two, she's going to sing again. God damn it. She's going to sing.
Oh,
I'm sorry. And three, he's recycling a tune he did from season 2.
That's what I thought you were going to be pissed
Now it's
at.
three things. Now it's three things.
That's funny. I didn't think that you were going to say you were pissed that Madeline is singing again, but she is. She's singing Autumn in New York.
I shouldn't say I was pissed, but I was just like, really? She's going to sing again? Like she had, aside from Bianca Jagger, all she's done is sung tonight. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
Like this is me.
She could have been in that last sketch.
Yeah. She could have played Jane. Why was she playing Jane's role?
Right.
No offense, Jane. Did not do anything for that sketch.
No.
Did not add anything to that sketch.
Well, it's just Madeline all around New York singing Autumn in New York.
I did like the last shot. The last shot was cool. She was on one of those like Times Square high rises underneath the Jumbotron.
Yeah.
Like they were in tight on her and she's singing and they pull back and she's below the Jumbotron with the that shot was cool.
Yeah.
It was like the anti-version of when Gary Weiss did this the first time where we liked everything except the last shot with him on that boat. But just like, I don't know what this added to it all.
Well, we go back to it's Lorraine and Gilda in a locker room, and Lorraine is complimenting Gilda about how well she's been playing. And Gilda explains it's because of a product she has, but can't answer any questions about it.
Best I've ever seen you play, Sally. You seem so poised and self-assured today.
Thanks, Vicky. I am. I never even knew it was possible to be this sure of myself as a woman.
What's that?
Oh, it's this wonderful new woman's product. I don't know, I've just been so confident and secure since I've had it.
Well, what's it for?
Confidence.
Well, do you put it on you or in you?
I guess so.
Is it welcome protection against odor all year round?
Possibly.
Does it come in flavors?
Maybe.
What's 2 and 2?
4.
Just checking. Well, does it have a name?
I don't know.
Well, how do you open it?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I just know I've never felt so feminine or so protected in my whole life. So, if you want to feel fresh and confident all year round, look for the pink box, wherever it might be sold.
A woman's product so personal, even we don't know what it is.
Having it solves the problem of being without it.
I thought these two were very good. Again, I think they're very good together, so I enjoy it.
Oh my, yeah. This is a perfect little sketch. That's what I'm saying. Like up and downs this episode. This is a great sketch. It's very smart. It's written really well. The performances are great by the two of them. It's just like this is a perfect sketch. There's nothing wrong with this. It's great.
And it's fast. I mean, that was the other thing is like it's fast, so there's no fat to cut off of this sketch.
Well, that's the thing. I think we're seeing tonight a lot of these longer sketches that are just not working. Bianca Jagger, the reverse discrimination. We're going to get to one later on. Unfortunately, I didn't love. These longer sketches aren't hitting, but it's the short stuff that is great. The cold open, the swill, this pink box, like the short ones are what's really hitting it and hitting it well. And what makes this episode just very perplexing. Because it's just such a spectrum of stuff we're watching this episode.
Well,
including the next one. I don't know. The next one's interesting. The next one
is interesting. So we're in a recording studio, and Dan is an actor, Bill is the producer, and they are there to dub over the Italian picture Hercules meets Romulus. Then we watch the Italian version with John and Garrett and Gilda, and they are discussing whatever in the picture, and then and then they stop the picture.
Whatever in the picture. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It's in Italian. Doesn't matter.
It's in bad Italian. And so the whole thing goes, and then Bill says, all right, well, let's rewind that. And then Dan, you can do the voiceover. And then it's brilliant, I think.
Brilliant. Hilarious.
John, Gilda, and Garrett doing their entire scene that they just did backwards, including like the beginnings of a sword fight.
It's great. Oh, it's great.
It's excellent. It really was.
I mean, and of course, Gilda's fantastic in this. All the physicalness of jumping around and running backwards. Of course, she's brilliant, but all three of them are fantastic.
Yes, they were. All three of them were great. It was so much fun to watch them do everything in rewind. And then Dan does the little voiceover over top of it, which I also thought was pretty funny. He does all
really
three
good
parts.
His voiceover over all three is hilarious.
Yeah.
Is there no one in Rome who can challenge the great Hercules? Hercules, it's me, Romulus. The Emperor has chosen me to fight you because he knows that we are good friends. Romulus, it's you. Stop, you fools. Are you both fools? You mustn't fight just to please the wicked Emperor. Have you forgotten that he is your good friend? Of course not. But Hercules and Romulus must fight, or the Emperor will have his archers kill us both. I'm not going to die with an arrow in my back. No. Idiots! Let them fight each other. What do I care? I'll feed myself to the lions. Yes, that's it, the lions!
I enjoyed this sketch for those reasons. This was one that I was like, I wasn't sure how it was going to go at first, but then I loved every minute of it once I got into it.
This is a sketch that is stupid and silly. And I mean it with the highest regards because it works. Like, it's just so dumb. It's so funny. This is a Jim Downey sketch, which I love because he wrote this. And he also wrote one of my favorite sketches of all time is another Hercules sketch he wrote about 10, 12 years later when Bill Murray hosts and he comes back with the Return of Hercules.
Yes.
So like Downey's obviously got a thing for these like bad dubbed Italian films. Yeah, like you said, the rewind thing is hilarious where they pull it all back and they'll go backwards. But then when they go forward again the second time and Dan's doing all of the voiceover for all three characters, it's just so funny. It's just so stupid and so funny. And I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was great. After that, we come back to Madeline. And this time she introduces an actress, an English-speaking actress that she found in London last year, who is one of the world's great conversationalists. And she knows we're going to enjoy her. So she introduces Dame Edna Everage. So Dame Edna is, I don't know if people know of Dame Edna.
I hope you know.
I know Dame Edna. I mean, you remember her, right? From like the 80s, 90s. She was on TV when we were kids.
Yeah, kind of.
She had like different specials. She is the persona of this actor named Barry. Oh, what's his last name? Humphreys, right? Sorry.
Barry Humphreys. I at least knew that.
So Dame Edna Barry Humphreys is Australian. She started as this character he portrayed in Australia as like this housewife. He started this character in 1955. So
really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So he'd been playing Dame Edna for 20 years at this point. In 1977, he had a stage play on Broadway, like a one-woman show with her. And that's why they had her on SNL this week, was to promote that. But it didn't go well. I think the show closed after 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's what I saw, yeah.
And it didn't do well. But I always enjoyed this character of Dame Edna because she was so kind of over the top. And I thought it was interesting having her interact with Madeline.
So you strike me as a Dame Edna aficionado.
Okay.
Do you think this plays better as because I don't know Dame Edna very well. Does this play better like as the conversation with Madeline Kahn, or would it have played better if she just introduced Dame Edna and did like a one-woman shtick for 6 minutes?
Yeah, I think the
question.
latter probably would have been better. But the character of Dame Edna, like this is what she does. Like she talks to people. So I don't know how the Broadway show worked.
Like I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like there's the show. Does she talk to audience members or something like that? So that's why I wasn't sure.
Obviously, the audience didn't know Dame Edna. I don't know how well Madeline Kahn actually knew Dame Edna, and I don't think this thing went the way that Dame Edna wanted it to go.
I don't think it went the way anybody wanted to. Yeah.
Yeah.
It did feel like a little bit of a callback, though, to like season 1, where like the host would bring a guest out and have a conversation, like Candice Bergen did a couple of times. Like it kind of had that vibe to it, which I did like from like a nostalgic of the show history point of view. But like I said, I don't know how well it worked as a performance piece with the two of them together.
Right. It didn't land. That's a shame. From there, we get Dan in a commercial pitching Rovco's Pocket Pal, which warns you when there's imminent danger on a flight.
When you fly, are you concerned by the volume of air traffic, possible oversights by air traffic controllers, the number of human errors committed by pilots, and the occasional likelihood of mid-air collisions? Well, you don't have to be caught off guard by mid-air collisions, thanks to Pocket Pal, Rovco's amazing new airborne early warning system, which actually predicts mid-air collisions as much as 10 seconds before impact. Inside the Pocket Pal, there are thousands of microprocessors, which electronically duplicate the sensing mechanisms of the silver-haired bat, a creature never caught unaware by mid-air collisions. So the next time you fly, take a Pocket Pal with you. You might not need it, but if you do, you'll be the first to know.
747.
We're going to collide with a 747! You may as well be the first to know.
The last word in personal electronic systems.
You know who wrote this?
No.
You'll never guess, but guess.
And Beats.
Dave Thomas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so Dave Thomas wrote this for SCTV, which they had just started, in 1976, and he had wrote this sketch, and they didn't like it because they thought, oh, people don't think dying is funny, or dying in flight is funny. And he told Dan about it, and Dan loved it, and Dan was like, I'll do this on Saturday Night Live. And so he did.
Awesome.
And then I guess the director, whoever of SCTV, saw it and like went to Dave Thomas, like, that's our sketch. He's like, no, that's my sketch. You didn't want it.
That's
Gave
hilarious.
it to him. But yeah, that's where this came from. This is and I'm sure, Dan took it and made it into the Rovco whole thing, but yeah.
Right. Oh, that's
really
great.
It's really funny though. It's a great bit.
So good.
I love how you got Tom Davis, a nun, and Al Franken are the three people you notice in there. It's really good. I like this. Again, it's like up and downs, man. It's short. Like all the short ones are what's hitting really well tonight.
Right. The next one was not short. Did that not hit for you?
It did not.
No? All right.
Yeah, did not.
So it's Gilda and Madeline at home drinking vodka and tabs, talking about Gilda waiting for a guy that she met and connected with over the Patty Duke show, which I thought was funny. And basically then it just turns into this drunken discussion between two friends, one reassuring the other that this guy that is going to call her. And in fact, that's it. That's all this was. This is, I assume, a Madeline Suzanne Miller piece.
Yeah, this is Madeline Suzanne Miller. Yeah.
Sorry, Madeline. I don't know. I like these slice of life pieces that she does. I don't know. I find them very endearing in a lot of ways. I thought this felt genuine. I don't know. You didn't like it?
I didn't. And I know you're going to give me shit for this because I feel like these sketches work in the right episodes. And I don't think this was the right episode to pull this out on because this episode was so uneven that this change of pace did not work for me. There was so much missing in this episode that like I wasn't vibing. I wasn't digging the episode. And for this to come on, because these also do tend to come on late usually. Yeah, so it doesn't help. Like if you're not liking the episode at the end, this is not the best way to like close things out. But I understand why they come on late because you don't want to have this early on in your comedy program. But this one I just didn't know where it was going. Like usually there's like a lot of times her pieces have that tension or like, like butting of heads, like whether it's, Tess and the Garrett Morris character right. or Dan and Jane or Dan and
Shelley
Duvall or John, like they're all, this was the first time I feel like and I can see why they did this because she did Slumber Party with Madeline Kahn, which was an amazing piece. And I could see Madeline coming back and being like, I want a Madeline Suzanne Miller piece. Like, give me something else. And that was really, I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, the only one of hers that wasn't that kind of like combativeness. That was kind of the same pageness of the characters.
Yeah.
But anyway, so for me, I had a hard time just digging into these two, like, because you're right. They're on the same page. They're supporting each other. They're like Madeline Kahn is supporting Gilda and trying to talk her through this.
It's just them playing drunk women.
Yeah. For me at this point in this, I wasn't loving this episode and I wasn't ready to watch this at this point.
I think what's missing really is like, it feels like the way it was written was the tension was supposed to come from Gilda's character who's waiting on this phone call and this guy.
Right.
And it almost felt like Madeline's character put her too much at ease. You know what I mean? So that when the phone then rings, you're like, well, of course he's going to, so it's just kind of like, I don't know, but that's it.
Yeah, that is.
That's our show.
They did have a good Kai round at the end of this one, though. They go out and they say, is there a fourth network in heaven? Which I just feel like now is kind of funny because bajillion networks.
Yeah. You didn't love this episode, right? This is very hit or miss is what you're saying.
I did not. And in talking it through, I don't like it anymore. Like sometimes I come in with like a bad taste and like I talk it through. I'm like, okay, maybe I was wrong.
But you did like.
There's great stuff in this episode.
Like you loved Swill.
The cold open is great. Swill is a classic. Bad opera, decent.
Yep.
The Pocket
Schiller's
Pocket
Reel.
Pal's decent. Schiller's Reel's fantastic. It's one of his, top 5. So like, there's definitely
Weekend
good
Update
stuff
was weird.
in here.
Yeah,
that didn't help. Yeah,
you love Taj Mahal. There should have been another Taj Mahal.
Should have been a second.
Yeah.
Taj Mahal was too good because then you're upset he didn't get a second appearance.
Well, and I think that's part of the unevenness of this episode is the things that were good were really good.
They were.
Swill,
they were.
Schiller's Reel, right? Like they were amazing all-timers. Yeah. And then the things that we didn't like, the bowling thing didn't hit. I think I liked the Marilyn Suzanne Miller piece more. I know I did. I liked it more than you did, but I didn't love it. Dame Edna was kind of flat.
You know what else bothered me though? Like before the Marilyn Suzanne Miller piece, what did Madeline Kahn really do?
No, I know.
That also bothered me. Like what? Like I think again, it's because we knew she could do such a great job previous. It's like she didn't do a lot. She had a pre-record that that she was involved in that wasn't. I didn't love, but she wasn't involved in a couple sketches. It felt like she just wasn't. She did Bianca Jagger and she did Marilyn Suzanne Miller, and then she sang. That's kind of what she did all night.
Yeah,
it's kind of like
and that was it.
I don't know, and I think I still have a little bit of this, and I got to get over it. Like season 3, it's not honeymoon, but like this vibe of like it's season 3, it's gonna be amazing. Like I got to come down a little bit. You know what I mean? Of like the season 3 of it all. It's like and it was like Steve Martin, Madeline Kahn. We got these great hosts. Like, so I think next week might get me grounded a little bit because I need to get back into like, let's just enjoy it week to week and not look at it in the big picture.
Right. Understanding that not every show in season 3 is going to be amazing. Just kind of, you have to ground yourself there. Yeah.
I got to get away from like the shiny new sets because this was like that Hercules sketch. It's like John's got a wig and a beard on and they've all got great costumes and it's an amazing set. It's like they're pulling all this shit out they haven't done for 2 seasons. And it's like I'm almost getting like distracted by the shiny objects. It's like, look at all this fun stuff and I'm not focusing on what they're doing.
Right. We'll learn as we go through this season what works and what doesn't. And I think we'll see that this was, as an overall show, more of an outlier, hopefully, for the rest of the season. For what we have it built up in our minds.
I'm intrigued to see where this lands because there is some great stuff on this. Like I could see end of the season. There's like 1 or 2 things on here that like make top 10 bits.
Oh yeah,
by the end,
I totally think
it's
that's
so.
True.
It's interesting to see where it lands in the realm of it all.
Yeah. Well, Brad, what are your best bits?
Swill, hands down, and Schiller's Reel, Acid Generation. I think those 2 are the best. There's other good stuff. The opening was fun, and Pocket
I think
Pal's good. But as far as best bits, those are the 2 I would put up against anything else.
The third one that I had marked, and this was the 3rd place for me, and I'll just say it since I had the other 2 as well, was the recording studio bit. Like I really enjoyed that. I thought everyone was.
It is good. It is funny.
The whole rewind thing was great. So
rewind thing is great.
Yeah. That's it. I think I agree with you. I'm excited to see where this show lands at the end of the season, because I think some of these bits are going to be in our top 10 bits. Yeah. Well, that's our show. Next week, we're going to be talking about season 3, episode 3 with host Hugh Hefner and musical guest Libby Titus. Until then, good night and have a pleasant tomorrow.
Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow.
The Not Ready for Primetime podcast is a 2 Pints Productions production. Produced and edited by Brad and Gary. Thought about by Brad and Gary. Please rate and review. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.